So, The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. Have you seen it? I'll tell you why you should. First of all, the cast. Let's talk about the cast here. The voice acting cast they got here is unbelievable. How they got so much talent in one place. It's crazy. Like the budget must have been ridiculous for this. And it shows. You've got Jason Isaac as the Emperor. He's one of my favourite all-time bad guys. He's quite literally the best thing about Star Trek Discovery Season 1. It's not hard to say that. But his just overall menacing, kind of layered performance that he brings to the Emperor is brilliant. It's very, very, very good. To the point where I found myself kind of almost empathising with the Skeksis. Towards the end of it, you know, you kind of get a bit more about their motives and why they fear death so much. It's good. It's a very nuanced performance for a character which could have been a very two-dimensional character. So casting Taron Egerton in the lead role here as Rhiannon, I think is a stroke of genius, and it kind of goes to show you've got all these kind of rising stars who years and years ago, you know, when I was a kid, you would not get them to do what was called a serialized TV show. You just wouldn't. You wouldn't get that. And it goes to show a big shift in the industry away from these kind of like big budget Hollywood controlled, more kind of oppressive ways of filmmaking into these sort of productions which are made, you know, with love by the family, by people like Lisa Henson, and just bringing everybody in who worked on the original film. And that feeling and that, you know, that goes to show right the way through to people's performances. And like I say, having someone like Taron Egerton coming off the back of Rocket Man and then doing something like this is great. And when you hear him talk about the project, you can genuinely get a sense for the fact that this is something he liked, something that he saw as a kid, and something he's proud to be a part of. Win-win. And then we have a few people from Game of Thrones thrown in for good measure, because, you know, this is a fantasy drama. I kind of feel like for them, this is a bit of a redemption story, especially for someone like Lena Headey coming in. You know, guys, this just goes to show you can make a really out there fantasy adventure with excellent world building, and have a plan. They clearly have a plan for this for a few seasons. The setup is great. The execution is great. Lena Headey is great. Also, we have Mosande in here. I do know the actress's real name. I just forgotten it right now, and I'm in the flow, so that's fine. Anyway, she plays Dee, and she is brilliant. She brings another really kind of nuanced performance to this. I get the feeling like where they're going with her character is almost a little bit of a sort of Daenerys Targaryen thing. So, you know, she's going to become a little bit evil. Sorry, spoilers. Potentially. I don't know that. I didn't write it. But again, they're just showing you how to do that well, you know, how to do it in a much more sort of caring way over a longer period of time without some drastic personality shift. Yeah. And then that brings me to Simon Pegg as the Chamberlain. I'll be honest with you, 100% honesty, I had no idea this was Simon Pegg. On my first watch through this, I thought, you know, they must have done something. This sounds like the Chamberlain from the 1983 film. You can stack these side by side and the performance is incredibly on the nose. He's really done his homework here, and it really shows. Every little noise, mumble, sort of, you know, Chamberlain-esque thing that the Chamberlain does, he has it down to a key. Like it's perfect. And again, you hear Pegg talk about this project. He clearly really likes this. He enjoys what he's doing here, and I hope that he goes on to do this for a few seasons. Ultimately, guys, I feel like this is just a great thing, and more of this would be really, really nice. What they do here is they take this little glimpse of a world we thought we knew from the film, and they pull back the curtain, but they pull it back so much as to show you stuff that you never thought you were going to see. They add to the lore and the mythology of it all, but still completely respecting, you know, where it's come from. And where it's going, because remember, this is a prequel series, and if you're listening, George Lucas, this is how you do a prequel. I feel very strongly that the writing here is top notch, and the direction is great. The way the camera works as well, you're always kind of over the shoulder of a girlfling or a Skeksis, and the camera adjusts to their height in such a way that you feel like you're on this ride with them. That's a really cool thing to do, especially when the narrative is so laid out and you know your end goal. To feel like you go on the ride with them, it's a really good thing. I feel like there's some really important themes here as well. I mean, looking at the fact that we've got some really, really strong female leads, as well, we've got people like Brea. She's coming from a political background. She's obviously raised and slightly oppressed in the system that she's raised in, you know, being told, you know, be a good girl, follow it, do what you're told to do. It's only her questioning the corrupt system that she's in that sort of leads you back round to getting the answers. And she, you know, ultimately finds her truth and exposes what's going on through asking the difficult questions, pushing it, doing the things she shouldn't do, even though she knows she's going to get in trouble for it. And I think these are important messages, especially in these sort of day and ages. We could all kind of learn a bit from that. And the fact that it sort of casts that out there for the younger viewer, I think is healthy. And, you know, it's something that we should see more of. Ultimately, guys, I really love this. As you can tell, I was a big fan of Dark Crystal anyway, so I was always a little bit biased. I was going to enjoy it. I sat down to watch this with my kids, and they loved it, by the way. They really did. But I found myself, when they went to bed, staying up to watch a little bit more, and you did the next episode. Because I was just so into it. I wanted to see the conclusion, you know, I wanted to see the outcome. And also, it was just so beautiful to look at. The cinematography in this, I mean, if you can call it that, is brilliant. The sets are incredible. Ultimately, I think what I'm getting at here is it's a fun ride for all the family. I highly suggest watching it. I hope we get a lot more from it as well. I really love that it respects the younger viewer. It doesn't shy away from the darker stuff from the source material. Which, you know, sometimes I think kids need to see a little bit of that and have some perspective. And it does that. It respects the younger viewer, and it's got a hell of a lot of character development, and the world building is exceptional. Yeah, I say give it a go and watch it. For me, it's a solid 9 out of 10. The only problem I had is a slight little tiny thing around sort of episodes 4 to 6. A little bit of pacing issues, but that's because that was big kind of dialogue, character development moments, and we needed that. We needed it so that we cared more for these people when the big finale stuff comes into play. Yeah, it's lovely to see artwork like puppetry, sorry, and just general the scaping of it all come together in a combination of something that I truly think Jim Henson would have loved. I suggest you to have a quiet night in with the kids, get on the sofa, get a blanket, and whack on Dark Crystal, The Age of Resistance. So thanks a lot for watching. Thank you for your time. If you like what I do, please subscribe to the channel, and hopefully we're going to do a few more of these. We'll be focusing on films that are family friendly, sci-fi, cult films, and just stuff I like. Thanks a lot.